Here's a video on installation of MySQL on Windows. First, go to mysql.com. You'll notice a Downloads option on the top menu. Click on it. Scroll down to the MySQL Community GNU Public License downloads. These are the free versions. And the item we want first here is MySQL Community Server. There are a couple of options here. Let's use the .msi installer. That's the easiest version for us to use, and we'll go to the download page. We could pick a smaller app that periodically asks us what we need, or we could just use the full download. Let's use the full download. It is a half a gigabyte though, so hopefully you have space for that. At this point you can log in with your MySQL account or sign up for one, but neither of those is necessary. Just start your download. This takes a few minutes, so we'll give this a while. And the download is complete. So let's double click on the .msi file. It will open up and take a while to decompress. Let's give it a few seconds. And do we want to allow this app to make changes to our device? This is from Oracle America, so we trust them. Let's say yes. Give it permissions to change. Let's just install the server. We don't need all of the extra pieces. It says that we're not meeting all of the requirements, so we need Microsoft Visual C++ redistributable package. Not installed. So there is a requirement that we have the Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 redistributable package installed. If it says it will be installed if we agree, execute, and it's installed. I agree, install. And now I think we can proceed. So let's execute. Now we're installing MySQL Server on the Mac. On the Windows, and we still do need to do some product configuration. It's ready to configure, so let's try that. We have to decide if it's a standalone server and a classic MySQL or an InnoDB cluster. We don't have a cluster to worry about, so let's just go with standard. And then let's call this a development computer. Other options are server or dedicated. We're not running servers. Notice this TCP IP, that's the Internet protocols, and it will want to run on port 3306, and for X protocol 33060. When we try to communicate with our computer from itself, we'll loop around and access that port. So I think this is all we really need to take note of, and then hit next. Use strong password encryption. That's what we probably want. And here's where we have to be careful. We're going to enter a password for the computer And we have to be careful about entering it because there's really no way to recover this unless you reinstall the whole MySQL server. So I'm going to use the name of our course, TEC-332 with an exclamation point, and I will re-enter it, TEC-332 exclamation point. You could put in anything you want for your password, but whatever you do, remember it. And notice that the Windows service name, this will be an application running in the background on your Windows machine, will be MySQL 80. This is what's called a daemon, D-A-E-M-O-N, and you'll be able to access it from other applications. So let's just leave it as a standard system account and continue. Finally, we'll finish the configuration by clicking execute here. So it looks like we have succeeded. Now we've got a SQL Server version 8.0.21 that's all set. So copy log to clipboard if you'd like to look at that later. And we'll finish. Finally, let's go back to the MySQL community downloads. Now we'd like to install a graphical user interface version of a tool that comes with MySQL to interact with the database. It's called Workbench, and it's much smaller than the full database, so we'll download that. Shouldn't take long. Double click on that, and we're going to run through a setup wizard for the Workbench. That's where we have our MySQL installed, so that's good. Let's install all features, and finally log in. Let's let Oracle change our computer. And we're done. Just to check that out, let's try Workbench here. And you'll notice that we open up the Workbench app, which would allow us to, for example, check out some of the databases on our computer. And we need to log in as root, and thankfully we have recorded our password, TEC-332 exclamation point, and we have access to the database. That's all.